So I'm going to now just kind of whiz through the survey results. They are for a moment in time. The survey hasn't closed. So this is parents' voice of what they've told us. So just a show of hands, how many people in the room have taken part in the survey at the moment? Oh, good few. So it's staying open, as I said, till next Friday. So if you haven't already and you know other people who haven't, get them to take part. So the survey. We have, as of yesterday, 873 parents who've taken part in the survey. And so I'm going to rush through some findings. So while 651 children were eligible for the summer programme, of the parents that told us, only 62% of them availed of it. So that's the first finding that we had. So there is a cohort of people who know their children are eligible for it, but who don't take it up. Just make sure I'm on the same slides. So reasons for choosing the home-based programme. So some parents told us that their children take part in the home-based programme, and we wanted to explore that a little bit, because we often hear that it's because there isn't a school-based programme, and we just wanted to check that was the case. So 91% of the parents who answered this question said that there was no school-based programme available. But not all parents who said that, it wasn't always the reason why they didn't choose it. So some parents out of that, although there wasn't available, they liked the home-based programme because they could choose their own tutor. They liked having their child around in the summer, and their child liked being around in the summer, and some of that was connected with siblings at home as well. So there is a cohort that, even if it is available, don't want it, and we'll go into that now. So when asked if they would choose a school-based programme if it was available, 27% of parents said they would stay with a home-based programme. And 71% would choose school-based programme, with a small amount saying school-based but in a different locality. The next thing we asked parents was what was their child's experience of the school-based summer programme. So we went across a number of areas on this, and I suppose one of the things, I'm not going to just list them all out because you can see it there, but one of the things I suppose that did stand out was the one that most parents said no on, was that it didn't help their children catch up on schoolwork. So that's something that maybe I think it's an important thing that parents say the school-based programme is for, is to kind of keep in contact with the education and to catch up, but they're saying that it's not doing that. So, but it did strengthen their relationship with their peers and teachers, and they were happy with in general, they were very happy with the learning content covered during the programme, and the staff they felt were qualified to work with their children. So we asked where they'd like the summer-based programme to take place. 63% of parents said in their child's school. 16% said in one of the local schools. 15% said in a community centre, and 6% said other places. And just so we keep in contact with that other, because sometimes they just drop off, we asked them where else. So a number, and I went through all of these, so although they're just little speech bubbles here now, I know how often it occurred. Quite a few parents said they'd like them attached to existing summer camps, so that their children could go along to the summer camp with their siblings, but there would be an area for them to attend as well, and it felt more inclusive. Other areas, other things that were said, a lot of parents said outdoors. That came up quite regularly, and Forest School was mentioned as well with that. Community centres, resource centres, nearby was something that came up a lot, that people didn't want their children having to travel huge distances. So that's what was reflected in the other. So does or would your child require transport to and from the school-based summer programme? 60% said no, and 40% said yes. And this is something that, Michael, I think you'd be very interested in. But 85% said that a lack of transport was not a barrier for their child to access a school-based summer programme in their school. And I think when we looked at that, what we felt was then that the parents were really in these statistics saying, and it'll be interesting to tease this out because we are asking about transport this afternoon, is the fact that actually having the summer programme based in a school or another centre is more important than how you get your child there. So having the placement is just the critical piece. Getting your child there becomes a secondary piece. But it doesn't mean to say we have to forget the transport by any means and just rest in the laurels of the fact that 85% say it's not a barrier. But it just shows the importance of that placement. Then the next one was, what did parents think the content of the summer programme should include? And again, we'll go into this in a lot more detail afterwards. Involve day trips and life skills, baking, tidying, relationships, etc. And it's interesting because in the other of the previous slide that I was going through, some of the comments, and it was just individuals, so it wasn't enough to put it, but they were kind of saying, actually, the place isn't important because if you've got a daily activities program, you don't necessarily need a place. The children don't need to be in a place because there's a daily program that they're engaging in. So that came out high, not in the placement here, but that it's that very different schedule to the normal school year. That it would be more recreational fun by involving sports and play, that it would continue with the child's learning from school, and then there was other, and again some comments here that I believe the programme should work for the individual child but also help stretch their participation in the local community. So it's that kind of difference in the summer that you can engage with the community. You've got more, I suppose, time and flexibility. In the summer they will need to get out from learning, to feel free from school, to feel the holidays. So that sense of something different. So next we asked, what do you think about the duration of the home and school-based programmes? So 42% said there are not enough weeks. 17% said the days are too short. 31% said both the length of the days and the number of weeks are enough. And 20% said the days are long enough. So there's a mixture of results there that didn't surprise us particularly, but it's interesting to see the breakdown of that. When asked who they would like to supervise the home and school-based summer programmes, parents said that in the main that they'd like a qualified primary school teacher, but they were also happy with the idea of a multidisciplinary team, occupational therapists, an SNA, a qualified teacher at any stage of education, and a student teacher. So there was support for a lot of those. But one of the things we're saying, as well as supervising, that parental involvement had to be key, that the parents' voice needed to be engaged, and also even their time and expertise needed to be part of it. Other people mentioned music and art therapists, craftspeople, drama, but significantly a lot of people said it needs to be people familiar with our children and their needs, and that's no surprise. They don't want them to go into a centre that nobody knows them and that nobody knows their needs. Should a person be able to work in the summer programme following the completion of a short course to develop the skills necessary to work with the child? 42% said yes, but the overriding group of parents on this was unsure and no, and I think that's interesting based on our presentation from Michael this morning in terms of that play worker role, and maybe listening to the Malta experience, it might give us an idea of exploring that a little bit more. So I think that did think, for me, that showed that maybe it's not something that we've completely explored fully with parents yet, and I think this afternoon will be a useful time. Really good timing. My next slide is time for lunch. So lunchtime's important. It's time to reflect on what we've heard, but also to meet other parents and have conversations. So enjoy the lunch. We're going to be back in 45 minutes. If you feel that there's not enough room in here, we have got another room next door. So if you want to go and have smaller conversations with people, you can take your lunch next door as well. But we'll be back doing the workshops at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Okay, thank you.